All right, so there's a saying at a steakhouse in upstate New York called Delmonico's. And it goes a little something like this: Delmonico's, this is where it gets good. It's in all their commercials. This is where it gets good. A prime time matchup between an SEC and a Big Ten team under the lights, Norman, Oklahoma. It'll be a rowdy atmosphere for this high octane matchup between the Oklahoma Sooners and the Michigan Wolverines. Two perennially great programs that right now are trying to find their footing once again. They're both in rebound mode, but I'm confident that both of these teams will get to where they want to go. I think they will make the progress that they want to both this year and in these years to come. Greatness lies ahead for both of these two squads and respective programs. Let's break down this matchup. John Mateer. I know that Oklahoma played Illinois State last week, but he looked just as good as advertised. He had a lot of hype this offseason. We saw it at Washington State, but we saw him in the Crimson Cream last weekend. Looked great against Illinois State. Made a few mistakes, had one interception, but he backed up with 3 touchdowns and almost 400 yards passing. I think that he'll be a factor on Saturday night. I think that he's one of, if not the best quarterback in the SEC. You know, there's quite a few. You got Nussmeier, you got Lenore Sellers. I think he's up there at the top of the conversation. I think that you're going to see a few guys that you heard get talked about a lot in the offseason emerge this Saturday against Michigan. Jaden Ott is one of those names. You heard a lot about him, the Cal Berkeley transfer this offseason. Last weekend with Illinois State, it was the Tory Blaylock show for Oklahoma. He had a great performance against Illinois State, and Jaden Ott didn't get a lot of carries at all. But Oklahoma's coaching staff even came out and said this week that his workload will be increased for this game. So expect to see a lot more of Jaden Ott, and I think that he'll have a very productive evening against the Wolverines. Also, last Saturday against Illinois State, it was the Keontez Lewis show. He put on a show against Illinois State. You didn't get much out of Deion Burks, but I think that he'll have an elevated role this Saturday, and he'll get a lot more targets from Mateer. So I think that both Keontez Lewis and Tory Blaylock will be factors this Saturday. Now, I think they'll be productive, but expect to see a lot more out of Deion Burks and Jaden Ott. At the end of the day, you look at this matchup, Oklahoma is a more experienced team than Michigan. So they have that advantage. And it's huge in a spot like this. Prime time game, all those eyeballs on you. It's a Phil Collins game. You can feel it coming in the air tonight. But while the Wolverines don't have the same level of experience as Oklahoma, they are still uber talented. Don't get twisted. There's a lot of dogs on this team, and it starts with QB1, the freshman Bryce Underwood, the 5-star plus. When you have a freshman quarterback going into a game of this magnitude, you're going into an SEC environment. You know, you play the EA Sports college football game, the toughness rank, the stadium pulse. It's going to be on a red this Saturday night. And so the question is how does Bryce Underwood compartmentalize that? You know, how does he navigate that? Will he shrink or will he elevate? I think that he'll end up elevating because he's just that kind of guy. He's built like that. He's wired like that. I really believe that he is. But I don't think that will go without any freshman mistakes, any freshman blunders, rookie mistakes. He will have his rookie moments. Maybe an interception, maybe a fumble or two. Those are going to happen. And Michigan fans, like I said in that video a few weeks ago, don't get frustrated by that. This is going to be a game where he's going to be finding his footing, getting in rhythm, getting used to this. This is not high school anymore. This is Norman, Oklahoma. And you're going to have a lot of environments like that you'll be going into if you're Bryce Underwood this year. He's also a guy that I've heard this get discussed a lot this week, and I'm going to hammer down on it. I'm going to reinforce it here. He's somebody who's so talented that he understands how talented he is. And what does that mean? Well, sometimes guys that are of the talent level of Bryce Underwood, they get a little excited sometimes. They get a little overconfident. Try to fit the ball into spaces that they shouldn't. Try to sacrifice their body in ways that they shouldn't. And it blows up in their face. And so, if you're Bryce Underwood, you can't be overconfident. You can't overcorrect. Let the game come to you. You have all the gifts that you need to be effective in this spot. Trust it. Don't do too much. Don't do too little. Find that sweet spot. I think that Bryce Underwood will. It's important to note that Alabama transfer Justice Haynes at running back. He played against Oklahoma last year, so he knows the kind of looks that he's going to get. He's acclimated now to that staff and plays that they're going to call on defense, so that's an advantage. And also a nod that I want to give to Michigan here. Sharon Moore, especially towards the end of the season last year, did a fantastic job at recycling the culture that Jim Harbaugh so tirelessly crafted in Ann Arbor. That culture of toughness, that culture of physicality, that culture of durability, of simply outlasting your opponent, winning individual plays because you were the tougher team and you went hard in practice. That's a testament to culture. Jim Harbaugh built that thing from the ground up at Michigan. Sharon Moore was there to experience it, and he's now reinforcing it. And I think that you'll see a lot of that on Saturday. Michigan being a tougher team, out-physicaling sometimes. That's just who they are. That's their identity, and it's still very much intact, which is why I'm very hopeful and optimistic about Michigan's future, because they're going to use that to navigate as a program as always. The point spread in this game right now, it's currently favoring the Oklahoma Sooners by 5.5 points. I think Michigan's going to cover, though. Doing my research here, I went back and forth on this. I argue with myself a couple times, on my run, literally out loud, talking to myself, going back and forth. Will Michigan cover, or will it be, Oklahoma 24-7, or 24-17, 27-17? No. My prediction here, Oklahoma 24-20. Book it. I think it'll be a more low-scoring game. You've got a Brett Venables defense. You know how those things are dialed up. You know how those things are keyed up. And a Michigan defense. They're always great up front on both sides of the ball. Michigan's defensive line still looks scary. If you like defense, I think you'll like this one. But I like Oklahoma here, 24-20. And this game is interesting, too, because it's really the only ranked-on-ranked matchup that we're getting on Saturday. So this will be the talk of college football media Saturday night, Sunday morning, and going into this week. This game. It's week 2, so you get a lot of those weird games. And, week 2 can be chaotic. But this is the one standout ranked-on-ranked game. So this is the game that everybody will have an opinion on. This weekend's a lot different than last weekend. You had a bunch of heavyweight matchups last weekend. But this is an intriguing game. You've got 2 high-profile teams, 2 recognizable brands, 2 ranked teams. Everybody will have an opinion. So if you're Bryce Underwood, if you're Michigan, how do you respond to that? If you're John Mateer, your first huge game in Oklahoma, how do you respond to this? It'll be intriguing. Let me know what y'all think and what your picks are in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.